Hello everybody, and welcome back to Silverstone. We finally met the rest of the cast. We hanging out with some good boys, and it's good. It's good. I like Mason. I think he is cute. I like Jake. I think he is cute. The bear be big. I mean, am I that easy for you slap a tank top on someone and I'm instantly like, they're cute. Like, it's fine, guys. Predictably, the ride back to Silverstone is much more strenuous with Mason behind the wheel. My nails dig into the armrest and with each bump in the road, but the dog still wears that goofy smile on his face. The sunlight glints off his teeth. His smile is a bit too bright, if you ask me. Meanwhile, Jake hangs on for dear life in the back. We stuffed him there by default due to the lack of space. The truck has no room compared to Kelsey's. I can remember names. I can remember. I didn't take a break in between these videos. Shut up. Kelsey's SUV. I was just thinking about Silas and June being stuck back there earlier. Mason looks up at the raccoon in the rearview mirror, tapping his fingers rhythmically on the wheel. So, what happened? Jake sits up right in the middle, exiting his slouch. He seems just as confused as I am about the question, but I have a hunch about where it's heading. What do you mean? You and Kelsey. The dog shrugs his shoulders in an awkward fashion, and I can see sweat start to break from his forehead. For being such a sociable person, Mason is terrible at reading the room, or he knows it's like a bad idea to ask, but curiosity just keeps taking hold. I'm like that. I'm like, this is a bad time to ask this question. I'm gonna ask it. Everyone's thinking it, so, you know. Jake returns to his slumped position, his face morphing from irritation to downright pissed. She just seems a bit upset about the rooms is all. Man, I don't want to fucking talk about it. What happened between Kelsey and me is between us. I can accept that, Jake, but, The raccoon raises an eyebrow as he waits for me to go on. He doesn't look mad anymore, but his expression is hard to read. I feel scared, but that I'll misstep again like I did with June. This does affect us, after all. Not really. I put my head in my hands, frustrated at my own vagueness. A bump in the road causes me to almost crush my nose, and I let out a small whimper. Hey, you alright? Yeah. Look, what I mean is, if this isn't addressed, something's gonna happen. I want to enjoy this weekend. Can't you two talk it out or something? Jake is silent for a moment, so I look in the mirror. I expect to see him pouting like a small kid who didn't get the toy he wanted for Christmas. To my surprise, however, Jake only looks a bit sullen. He pulls out his phone and taps away at the screen before he slips it back into his pocket with irritation. My guess is that the bad signal is the culprit there. I'll try to talk to her tonight. Cool. Thanks, man. I reach back to try to pat his shoulder to comfort him, but I accidentally hit his head instead. I'll punch him. Hey! Sorry. It's chill. The rest of the ride goes by as smooth as it can get, with the bumps and all. This time, my gut churns at the sight of our old neighborhood. What's it like? Look at this place. It's like a suburb. It's like all these homes. Desolate is the only word that comes to mind when I look at my old house. The decrepit appearance even wipes the smile off of Mason's face when he looks up from from shutting the door. But he's a smiley boy, though. It doesn't help that clouds have started to obscure the sun that was so present on the drive back here. Hey, a little help! Jake waves his hand in my direction, his body stuck in between the seats. Oh shit, sorry. I gently push the raccoon back into his seat before I pull the lever to slide my own forward. Jake pushes his way out, letting in a huge breath. Yes, as if he wasn't able to breathe. Phew. Thanks, man. Jake unexpectedly gives me a hug before he stops himself short. He tilts his head down as he follows Mason over to the others who have already arrived in Kelsey's. I keep wanting to say Chelsea. I'm like, that's wrong. That's a K. It's Kelsey. Kelsey's SUV. Silas and Kelsey are clawing at their arms, the cheetah noticeably shivering even in her jacket on. I join the others, patting June's shoulder as I arrive. The badger... Badger? Yes, the badger jumps before looking back at me nervously. Is it just me, or is it unusually cold? I rub my arms, trying to warm it up. The fact that even Silas is struggling to keep warm is a strange sign. Yeah, it's freezing. I don't remember it even getting this chilly when we lived here. Global warming, maybe. In the middle of summer, Mason, if anything, it'd be warmer. Still, your house. Our attention turns back to the building, dilapidated from years of wear and tear. I can remember Mason and I running through the sprinklers there like it was yesterday. Of course, I can't forget Dad teaching Mason how to ride a bike in the street, and Mason needing to go to the dentist afterwards. Now our home is just a shell of its former self, a body full of bones but no organs to help it run. I guess we should have expected this, but it's weird seeing it broken down like this. We'll always have memories, though, right? I try to ignore the poor choice of words, as Silas chimes in, distracting us from an awkward situation. I think I saw my house down the street earlier. I almost want to protest to save ourselves from another depressing visit. Still, I can't help but think about why Silas would want to check out his old rundown home. I guess we could check it out. Are you going to be okay? It looks fine when we drove past it. Well, if it's okay with everyone else. Despite my reservations, I clam up. The others just nod in agreement. I suppose everyone feels like this whole thing is a sensitive subject we have to tiptoe around. Okay. It's not too far down, if you guys remember. Thankfully I do. Silas would always walk to our place after school, sometimes bringing games over. I think I'd cry if I forgot where my friend lived. I walk alongside June as we make a turn closer to the resort part of Silverstone. The badger seems incredibly on edge, grasping the sleeves of his hoodie tight. There's a pause in the air as we walk. Mason distracts Jake, and Silas counts the houses as he reaches for his. Not wanting to startle June, I lean over and whisper, avoiding any physical contact. Hey, you alright? No. Well, yes. But, it's just, I wait for him to continue, but the badger stops next to a putrid yellow house that I remember Jake throwing eggs at once. Excuse me. June motions me to lean against as, and he cups his hand around my ear. Why is the town so quiet? Is that all? I speak a bit too loudly, as the others turn to face us. It doesn't seem to be interesting enough to draw them from their conversations, though. I mean, there was an Exodus 15 years ago. It's not surprising the town is so dead. I can see June's fingers shuffling around in his pockets, and hear the sound of change rumbling around against each other. I guess you're right. It's just creepy. That's all. The badger looks down, embarrassed, and I can't help but scream internally at myself. Somehow I did it again. I mean, yeah, it's creepy. I think I'm just not as affected by these things, maybe. June appears to brighten up a bit at that, a small smile cracking on his face. It's strange. The old June's smile looked natural and constant. This one, though, resembles that of a mask, and all I can do is think about whether it's fake or not. My thoughts are interrupted by a loud yell ringing through the air. It seems I'm not the only one affected, as June's eyes widen. We found it! June calms down a bit when I can still see the badger shaking a little. But I can still. That says but. And guess we better go to them. Yeah. The others are gathered in front of a familiar yet different house. I'm shocked that Silas was able to recognize it, considering the new paint job. Sure enough, it's his old home. Unlike mine, their house is well maintained, minus some botched gardening. I would not have chosen that color. Jake lets out a small chuckle at her statement, and I think everyone agrees with her. The disgusting yellow that's mixing with the color that the previous owner chose doesn't compare to the sky blue Silas's dad had painted before either of the two other owners. Silas's expression isn't one of nostalgia though, it's one of sadness and melancholy. I can understand why. I suppose he expected to get some closure by seeing the house, but not everything can heal past wounds. I decide to intervene before things get more depressing. Is there anything else we can anywhere else we can go to while we're here? Chelsea's face turns dark and she crosses her arms tight. Jake looks away from me, giving me a shrug as he kicks a stone in the middle of the street. I don't have anywhere I want to see. Same. I'd rather head to the resort. June looks unsure about what he wants to do. And for once, so does Mason. The dog's face is dressed in discomfort, probably at the fact that instead of a fun stroll through memory lane, we're all standing awkwardly as nostalgia punches us in the gut. I walk over to Silas, rubbing his shoulder as he continues to stare at the house. He is relatively composed until he looks down at me, which is when he jumps in surprise. His attention wasn't in the conversation at hand, causing him to flail and bat my arm like a spider burrowed into his fur. Sorry, I just wanted to check on you. The bear looks down, his ears flushing a deep red. He scratches where I had placed my hand on him, with a look of comfort yet confused. I'm okay. Nothing I can't handle. You sure? There's an amount of silence between us as the bear searches inside his head. The others look a bit more impatient than before, almost uncomfortable. Yeah, it'll be good. Somehow, I highly doubt that. And Jake steps in, patting us both on the back and trying to put on a happy smile. Come on, let's head on over to the resort. The raccoon pulls us along before Silas and I get a word in. I'm beginning to get annoyed about being everyone's toy to pull around. Still, I would rather be anywhere than the boulevard of shattered dreams, especially when I notice an old couple eyeing us with disdain. Just once, I would like to run into someone else our age in this town. Chills run through my body when we arrive at the tourist trap part of town. It's uncanny how everything is identical to my dream. Yeah, I was about to say, this is that one background, right? Or one of them. The only noticeable difference is the cliff far off. Sure enough, no lighthouse sits on it. Not yet, anyway. Just an empty field of nothing. Ugh, this place has really been let go. I notice the sadness in Chelsea's and Kelsey's face as she observes the nearly empty streets, and I can't help but think about how predictable this all is.
Sheesh. I thought things would be bad, but I didn't think this bad, you know.
Mason inspects the phone booth that I used in my dream, his ears and tail flailing. Even the door being broken is accurate to my dream, although Mason makes quick work of it faster than I did. Jake snickers in the background, while Kelsey frowns with disapproval at my brother. He carefully puts the door back in place, leaving his hand out in case it falls over. Look, I grew up never knowing a Kelsey, okay? This is not a name I'm familiar with saying. He wears a sheepish smile as he saunters back over to us, his hand rubbing the back of his head in embarrassment. June and Silas doesn't seem to have noticed the commotion. The two are instead looking at the old shops. The Badger is particular, that's what that says, is a sea salt ice cream parlor. Aw, fitted with rainbow poles and all. Of course, Jake notices his curiosity and seizes the opportunity.
Anyone want some ice cream? I'm paying.
I'm good, actually. My appetite is kind of gone at the moment. Kelsey's slightly embittered tone makes me remember the text Jake attempted to send her. The raccoon's nose scrunches before he turns to Mason.
I'm good too, actually. I hit my dairy limit for the day.
You're lactose intolerant now?
Just a bit, but too much still makes me sick.
Silas and June, however, seem to be up for a cone or two. June brings his own wallet out before heading inside. He never did like to depend on others, I guess.
True. I'll take you up on your offer, though, Jake.
Same. I want to save some money for souvenirs. I'm reminded of how expensive a towel in my dream was, if that was anything to go by in reality. If we can afford them. The raccoon lets his fangs hang out as he smiles, before turning to the big bear next to him. I'm assuming it's amusing to watch him look up at Silas now.
Anything you want in particular? I'm fine with vanilla. Or strawberry.
What are you all ordering? Are you ordering strawberry? Are you a vanilla man? I'm always a mint kind of guy. I like my mint choco chip. I'm a weirdo, okay? It's like refreshing. It's like if you were eating toothpaste, except it wasn't disgusting. You know. Jake tilts his head, unimpressed with the bear's decision.
Why do you go for the boring flavors, man? We're on vacation. Be a little adventurous, yeah?
Silas grips the handle of his bag. I remember him choosing all of the wild flavors as a kid, now that I think about it. I guess at some point he got a little burnt out on cotton candy and strawberry Rocky Road gummy bear deluxe type stuff.
Well, what are you getting? Peanut butter and jelly. That's, not that adventurous either, to be honest. Is too.
The raccoon finally turns to me. I realize that I haven't made a decision yet, too entertained by the two bickering.
What about you, man? What's your pick?
You know, after that conversation, I'd have to get something a little bit weirdy, right? You gotta. How about you choose for me? Any flavor. Jake gets a mischievous glint in his eyes as all of his attention focuses on me. I start to regret my decision, but I'm not going to let a little apprehension win me over.
Any flavor. No restrictions.
Go wild, man.
Okay then, I'll be right back. No roughhousing while I'm gone.
June exits the shop right as Jake enters. The raccoon almost knocks the cone out of the poor badger's hand. Still June looks satisfied with his ice cream, though it's a bit tough to make out what flavor it is. I could guess that it's too yellow to be vanilla, but not yellow enough to be lemon. Huh.
What flavor did you get?
Sweet corn. Huh?
Sweet corn. Try it. You'll like it.
I want to decline, but the melted cream all over June's nose takes the words no out of my vocabulary. I take a small lick, and Silas does the same.
Well,
The badger looks at us expectantly, but there's not much to really talk about with it. It sure tastes like corn. Man, when I was a kid, I would get this God, was it these puffed chip, like type of snack thing called sweet corn. I think it's Filipino, and just those were always my favorite. This is just the sweet corn. Don't know if any of you have ever tried that or had it. Tell me in the comments. I'd be curious. Huh. Silas turns to me as June returns to his ice cream, appreciating it much more than us peasants ever could.
you really just drank not to fuck you up, but not to fuck you over with this.
I'm getting ice cream either way. It can't be that bad. As if on cue, Jake comes out with out of the ice cream shop. He's somehow managing to hold 3 cones in his hands. He hands the bear his strawberry one with a bit of peanut butter and cherry smeared across it. Then he hands me my share. It's a scoop of white ice cream with blue specks and a red streak around it. I can feel the fur sticking up on the back of my neck before I even attempt to lick the ice cream. Jake's grin is wide, and I'm starting to wonder if Silas was onto something. Jake, what flavor is this?
Blue cheese and pomegranate.
Actually, that sounds fine. Yeah. What the fuck, Jake? The blue cheese part's a little bit weird, but would it come off more creamy? I guess it'll have a tang to it, right? Because cheese always adds a bit of tang, but the pomegranate has a sour taste. It's you have some sour and tang and the sweet cream. That's probably fine. Jake cackles before taking another bite of his ice cream. Silas looks at me with a raised eyebrow, as if I said, "I told you so." I genuinely consider throwing the cone away as the nausea from earlier begins to creep back up.
Hey guys, come check this out!
The 4 of us take our attention off the food and on Kelsey. Kelsey and my brother, and onto Kelsey and my brother. That is what that says. I am having some troubles. But I think I'm going to end the part here, actually. So I hope that you've all enjoyed, and I'll see you guys around.